welcome back. We have one best of 3 left, the Terran versus Zerg. We just had a ZVZ to decide the third player who will go to the Premier League from today. Turns out it is not Life, but it is in fact Hiva.
Hiva advances with a 2-1 over Life, goes straight to the Premier League. Life has to go through the up and downs if he wants to get a spot in next season's Premier League. And now we have the last game of the day, which is going to be a Zerg versus Terran with Flash up against Effort.
This is going to be a really exciting one. I definitely favor Flash quite a bit, especially considering that Hiva just recently got 2-0'd by Marine King. And if you think about that, it's not always the most impressive Terran player to lose to like that.
Effort Effort got defeated by Marine King here in the WCG Korea qualifier, and now he's up against Flash. So didn't look too convincing there. Marine King was very aggressive on the other hand and really made this game style work for him. And also, we go going about this through the statistics a little bit later on. But the thing is that Effort's matchup in the Zerg vs Terran is not really the best, whereas Flash is really good in this particular matchup. So we're going to find out if Effort maybe has some really good builds prepared that can take out Flash here. But so far, as you already said, the edge, I think, goes to Flash. Yeah,
so Effort probably has some really interesting strategies prepared for today. Maybe some aggressive roach pushes, or maybe he's been really working on his late game. He's fixed some of his problems he's had. WCG qualifier is an offline event, but you have to play a lot of different games. You're kind of sitting in a room going through a bunch of best of 3s, so it's a little bit different than the offline environment that we have here as well.
Yeah, and we're just waiting for the invite into the game. Also, we just had Effort come back, apparently, just a quick trip to the bathroom, and now both players seem to be quite ready to go into the first game of the day. This is definitely the series that was probably the most anticipated that we had.
Absolutely. It's a non-mirror. It's got Flash, who's one of the most popular players in the entire world. Effort doesn't have a small fan base either. He's got quite a large one from Starcraft 1 especially, so we've got a lot of people here in the studio, and game number 1 going to be on Belshire Vestige, so another 2-player map. A lot of 2-player maps today, in fact.
Belshire Vestige is definitely a pretty cool map for a Terran versus Zerg, at least when you are observing the game. Of course, for a Terran player, you can really quite make a lot happen there with good positioning. Of course, drop play is also very strong on Belshire. So I am really waiting for a very exciting series. So far, let's face it, the day was not too exciting. The games that we had were not the best today. Pretty straightforward series in best of 3, 1, and 2. And then I feel Life and Hiva was probably the closest, but most of the games were still pretty one-sided.
Yeah, game 1 and 2 was just kind of a little bit weird. Well, going into this one, I expect that we're going to see macro games. Flash has cheesed in the past, but it's not really his strong suit. His strong suit is his mechanics, his micro, and playing in the late game. He gets those upgrades out, then suddenly his Marines just seem to do more damage than other players' Marines. We've seen him do a lot with Hellbat drops in the past, with the recent nerf to Hellbats, though. I don't think that's really going to be his focal point here.
No, probably not. Every now and then we still see the Hellbats. We saw that when Reality was playing his games. I think that was... I'm not quite sure if that was against Kangho.
I think it was. I think it was last Thursday.
Yeah, but that was actually a really interesting series where that still worked. And Reality versus Kangho was the game. And Reality really made those Hellbats still work against the Zerg player. The Hellbats alone didn't do damage, but they distracted the Zerg. So I feel it's something that you can do if you have the better multitasking. But if it's just about the damage that you deal to the economy, Hellbats are usually not the choice anymore.
Yeah.
We see a lot of Terran players trying to experiment a little bit more with Banshees now that the cloak upgrade costs have been reduced.
Well, we still haven't gotten to the lobby yet, but I want to tell everybody to go on Facebook, on Twitter, message your friends on Skype right now and say, yo, Flash is about to play right now. Go to GOMTV.net, tell your friends to come in and tune to the stream while we have a little bit more time here so they don't miss it, because if they're gone right now, they're about to go to the convenience store. No, you have to go to the convenience store later. Watch this match first. Let everybody know this is happening, because just want to get the word out there.
Yeah. And this, of course, is also the last time that one of the players has a chance to immediately go to the Premier League. After today's broadcast, we are done with the Challenger League. Then we'll go into the up and downs in just a few days, starting, of course, to find out who are the last players that will be able to qualify for the next season, that will once again be streamed by GSL. In case that you didn't know, for the Premier League currently here at the Challenger League and for the Premier League in Korea, we have 2 organizations just switching every season. We have GSL and we have also like OGN with the OSL. So currently the Premier League is not being streamed. We have a rebroadcast that is done by Nick and Dan, by Tesis and Atosis. But going into the third season now, we will have all the players once again here at the studio in Gangnam. So that's going to happen, and we are going to find out not only today with this match that we now have in our hands, but then also with the up and downs, who will be the last few players that are able to qualify for the third season of WCS in Korea.
Yeah, by the way, if you're in Seoul, speaking of coming to this studio, we have English audio commentary here for the Premier League and oftentimes for the Challenger League as well. So if you want to hear English commentary, the other studio that has the players for Premier League does not have English commentary. So if you come here to this studio in Samsung, then you can actually sit down and listen to the commentators in English without any extra headsets or anything like that.
And talking about the game at hand now, we have both players already in the lobby. Belcher Vestige, as we mentioned before, is going to be the first map between the two of them. And Effort so far, I talked a little bit about it earlier, but he is definitely the one who has a bit of a shaky Zerg versus Terran. He is below 50% win ratio here, and Flash is nearly up to 75%, like very close to it. So if you just look at the data that we have with those two players, then Flash is a huge favorite to take this game. And that should actually, I mean, I think Flash is going to take this, especially since Effort didn't really impress me too much when I casted his games going up against Marine King. So let's see. I think the only thing that could happen here is if Effort really like prepared specific builds against Flash. That's where I could see him, okay, you know what, you have like really good builds against your opponent and you had his number here, you were in his head, you were able to take those games. That is something that I could see happening, but in, yeah.
Well, you know, it's always going to be exciting because even if Flash crushes Effort here, everybody loves to watch Flash crush somebody, no matter who it is, and people are going to enjoy it. Effort with a smile on his face here, starting things off. And this should be good. No matter what happens, I'm looking forward to it. It's my pick of the day, my favorite map of the day, and I think most people would agree.
Yeah, especially on a mirror match day.
Yeah.
Belcher Vestige, map number 1, Flash and Effort looking ready. We're going into that game in just a few seconds here, guys. Both of them want to go. Both of them actually dropped down from the Premier League. Keep that in mind. That is something that you might not have known before. But we have both of them dropping down to the Challenger League, where they now try to go back immediately. Effort dropped down into the first round, then defeated S2 and took out Yoda in the second round. Yoda falling a little bit short there, not performing as he did in the GSTL in this matchup. So Effort didn't have a problem at all taking him on. But now he's up against Flash, and that's a very different story. Going into game number 1 at the WCS Challenger League. Colin Wolf.
We talked about builds, we talked about strategies going into this, and Effort is starting things off with a 6-pool.
Going into a 6-pool against his opponent. To the bottom right, we have the Zerg player. It is
CJ Entus Effort.
I spilled the name earlier.
Yeah. Doesn't actually put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah.
Going for the easy way out here. Starting up to the top left, we have his opponent, the Terran player in blue, KT Rolster.
KT Roaster Flash.
And now things start to become very interesting. If you go into a 6-pool, what you hope for is that your opponent starts with the command center first. And the best situation for you is a CC on the low ground. Very few Terran players will really do that. Oh my god, I love it. He's pulling the drones because he wants to block the structures of his opponent and already damage them a little bit earlier. Okay, what happens?
Flash is going for a... Well, okay, he sends his worker out really early here. This is kind of strange.
He's just going for the scout here, I feel.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we have right now, the drones that are moving out at this point are there to block the ramp. He's trying to block the ramp of his opponent. And if he can block the command center, or not the command center, so if he can block the barracks, then he's gonna have a really good shot of getting into the main base of his opponent with those Zerglings. Oh my god, that's gonna be crazy.
Oh,
the Lings are saving!
He hides the Lings?
And he's going for the CC on the low ground, Wolf. It's CC on the low ground.
Oh, he wants to, but now he sees what's going on, but it's a bit too late, and the barracks is blocked exactly as you said. There's 3 drones here. Blocks the ramp. 1 drone is going to go down here. It looks like he's blocking the barracks. He's delayed it so much, the Lings.
He knows what's going on. He kills all of them, and he walls immediately. Has to cancel for a second, but this is still close. 3 Harvesters already gone, and Flash with a perfect reaction to what he scouted here.
The Lings here definitely could break through still, though. This is definitely a close call right now for Flash. He's ready. If he loses any of his SCVs, he will be able to start again. This is really, really close, but I think he's already done it.
Well, I'm not 100% sure about that just yet, because he takes down that one harvester, and if he gets all the lings lined up to take down the barracks, I don't think he will be able to break through here. But a lot of repairs going on. It looks like it looks really good now for Flash.
He has the second barracks, that's the thing. And
can't force the cancel, or can he? No.
Well, it's going to be close, but I don't think he will.
Not close enough.
Yeah, with the repair, he should be able to save it easily. The first Marine will be enough.
And this is game.
GG! Incredible pull by Flash.
Flash identifies with the early scout what's going on. If he starts this build without scouting with the SCV, he loses it. If he does not see early on what's going on here, if he does not send out that one SCV, the game will end in favor of Effort in 9 out of 10 games. Flash will build the CC first, is then trying to go into the barracks, and there will be the drones blocking it, the Zerglings stream in, and it's game. But that scout saved his, saved him.
Yeah.
And he had the perfect reaction, immediately moving all of his SCVs to the front, taking down 3 harvesters, and that also caused the early GG by Effort, because he knew that with the deficit in harvesters, he could not catch up.
To Effort's credit, Flash is a player who almost always CC firsts on the low ground in this matchup. You see him every now and then change it up, go for a Reaper expand, but it seems like 8 or 9 out of 10 times he's going to be going for a CC first on the low ground. He's studied Flash, he knows Flash well, goes for a 6 pull with a drone pull here. A really good idea, but he got spotted. And Flash, just an incredible defense there, making sure he had the rest of the SCVs there just in case.
It's a calculated risk that Effort took here, and that could have worked. It looked a little bit silly in the end, but that was only because the reaction of Flash was just perfect and exactly what he needed. Did never build that command center, but instead went for a double barracks, one behind his mineral line and the other one right at the wall, walled off just in time. So it looked a little bit silly in the end, but the build was actually like really good, and if Flash does not send out the SCV or goes into the CC first, then he's in a lot of trouble. So a calculated risk by Effort, didn't work out. Flash is in the lead and needs one more map to go to the Premier League. Game number 2 is starting. We are going into a match on Whirlwind, Effort versus Flash. Game number 2 at the 3rd round of the WCS Challenger League, brought to you by Carl and Wolf.